Alright, hello everybody. Today we're going to be doing a tutorial on Mastercam X5, and what we're going to be doing is setting up a drawing to do a contour toolpath, so importing images and creating a toolpath from that. So we're going to open it up. This is the user interface. It looks like this, and if you click F9 it brings in your origin. It looks like so. The origin is the base of your drawing, so where your cutter, when it's on the CNC, will begin. So let's say if we create a drawing in the center of the origin, so the drawing is all the way around the origin. When you start your cut path on the CNC machine, you have to begin with the center point. So what we're going to do is we're going to create the origin in the bottom left-hand corner of our material. This way, when we set it up on the CNC machine, we set the cutter to the bottom left-hand corner, and then it'll move with respect to the bottom left-hand corner, thus making it the origin. The origin represents 0x, 0y, and 0z with respect to the Cartesian plane. So that's a 3D model. So the origin is 0 in all axes. That's why it's based on the origin. So what we're going to do first is we're just going to play around with creating some lines and some different shapes. So the way you do that is there's this line tool right here. You can click that and create a line, or there's also this create tool and then, or this create drop down, and you can create a point, a line, an arc, fillet. These are all different tools. So we're going to start by creating a line. So you click that, and then you can see it snaps to the origin. You can start in the origin, click, and then drag, and that'll start your creating your line. If you click again, it'll end your task. Now it's asking you, is this what you want? Are you done drawing with a line? So you can click the little OK button, or you can hit enter on your keyboard. So once we're done that, you have a drawing. As you can see, when things have been drawn, they draw them in in a color, and then when you highlight it, it turns another color. So right now it's turning white, and when you click on it, it'll turn yellow, and you can zoom in on it by using your scroll wheel, as well as the um, the view and then fit, or view and adjust your settings from there. Okay, what if we don't want this line where it is? We want to delete it and create a new line. What you have to do first is draw a box around it, or simply select the line. The way you draw a box is you click and then you drag a rectangle around it. Once it's selected, it'll turn yellow. And you see it was selected before. Now I deselected it. So if I want to select it again, click on it, and then you can hit delete on your keyboard, or you can go create undo, but delete on your keyboard seems to work best. So you hit delete, and then there it goes, disappears. Alright, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to create a rectangle that is 12 by 9, because that's the material I'd like to use. You make a 12 by 9 picture or a sign or whatever you're creating. But you can change that for whatever means you're wanting. So I'm just going to go create rectangle, click where I want to start. I want to start in the bottom left-hand corner, which is my origin. And then now you can see these are changing here. That's your distances. So you can go ahead and click on it. And I'm going to click 12. Then I'm going to tab over by 9, hit enter on the keyboard. And then you can see that the drawing is way down here. So I'm really far zoomed out. So what I can do is click Alt F1 or go View Fit like this. But I'm just going to hit Alt F1 like that. And now I'm fit into the corner. There you go. And now you can see that I still have my rectangle tool selected. Apparently I selected the first corner, so what you can do is hit escape on the keyboard, and then it'll escape your commands. And there you have it. Okay, now what we're going to do is, if we want to do some detailing around the corners, so like rounding the corners over or creating a inverse corner. So that's done with the fillet tool. And the way you do that is you go into create, and then you hit fillet, and you go entity. And then now you can select the type of fillet, which is here. So you have a normal fillet, an inverse fillet, a circle, or a clearance. We're going to do a normal fillet with just a round over for the first time. And then now you have here, which is the size of the fillet you'd like to do. And as you can see here, this shows up for every tool you choose. It's a task icon, so it's telling you what you need to do. So it's saying select an entity you want to choose, that you want to fillet. But I'm going to change this to a 1-inch fillet, which means that the diameter from here in is going to be an inch. So the corner is going to be rounded to a 1-inch corner. So I'm going to click this. I want to round over with this one. And then there you go. You have your 1-inch fillet. Now let's say I want to do a 1/4-inch fillet on the other one. So I'm going to type in 0.25 and then hit enter. And then there you go. You have a 1/4-inch fillet. So let's change it back to a 1-inch because that seemed to look a little nicer. We'll go like that again. There you go. And if you want to continue and round over all the other ones, you click and then you click again and there you have it. So what if we want to do a different type of fillet? Well, you can change it clicking inverse and there you have your inverse fillet as well. So that looks neat also. You can also change the size of that as well. Change it to a 0.25 if you'd like or whatever size you want. So I'm going to leave it at 1 inch because I find that looks nice. So I'm just going to back up a little bit here and go back to my original square. You can select and delete all of your drawings if you want, or you can go edit undo multiple times and then that'll bring you back to what you'd like. So I'm just going to escape this command and then we're just going to hit undo a couple of times until we bring us back to our original square. Now I'm going to fillet those again all at 1 inch. I'll just select around on a normal fillet, like so. I'm just going around clicking, and there you go. There's your original fillet. And then once you're done, you hit OK, and there you go. You have your fillet. Well, at this point, we've done a few steps. You're going to want to save. You do that same as you would a Microsoft Word or any other program. So you file, save as, choose your location where you'd like to save it. I'm going to save mine to the desktop, and I'm going to name it RC Project. Name it something that you're not going to forget, and then also name it number 1. And then next time you save it as again. You save it as number 2. In case you lose one, you can keep going backtracking your steps. So there we go. We'll save it there. Okay, next what we're going to do is we're going to create some letters. Before you create anything new, what I like to do is change the color of your drawing. You can see that we created a rectangle and filleted it, and we created it as a green color, and that's down here, the system color. So you double click on that, and then choose another color, and this makes it easier for moving things around or selecting things that you want to move or edit. So if you select it as a color, you can choose just only that color, or you can hide specific colors, making it easier to draw. So I'm going to choose this red, and then we're going to create our next thing in red. So we're going to create some letters. You go to create the letters, and it's going to open up this window, and now you just type what you want to create. I'm going to type in teacher ed, like so. And then there's also down here, you can choose the height or the spacing of your letters. So let's say if we want to change it to a 2-inch letter, that means that the height of the letter is going to be 2 inches. You can type in 2 inches, and notice how the spacing changes automatically. That makes it consistent for reading. So if you want to change that, you can, but I prefer to leave it what Mastercam sets up. It's really nice for working with. But I want just a 1-inch letter. Another thing you want to remember to do is choose a font type. It's best to choose a true type font. So you click on true type font, and this gives you basically the same types of fonts as you would find in Microsoft Word. You want to remember not to choose a font type that's too curvy, like this one here. It's going to be very difficult to cut that effectively and get a really nice product. So you want to choose something like this Arial font type where it's nice, simple lines. There's also an Adobe type that I really like to use as well. We're going to stick with this Arial one just for simplicity's sake. So we'll click that one, and we'll keep it as a narrow line. I'll click OK. So that's the type of font we're going to use, and we're going to click Once you have your letters all drawn in, you can click OK, and now it's telling you enter starting location of letters. What I like to do is enter the locations away from your drawing first. This makes it easier for editing, bringing, scaling it if you have to, or moving individual letters if you need. So I'm just going to click away over here, and then there you see our letters up here. So if you click again, you'll bring in another set of letters like this. So if you keep clicking, you're going to keep bringing them in. So if you only want one set, you just hit escape, and that'll end your command. So I only want one, so I'm just going to delete this one. And there you go. Okay, what if we want to change the size of these letters? Let's say they're too big or too small. Well, what you have to first do is you select it, drawing a box around it. That's why I said to move it away. Makes it easier for selection. And then you're going to X form, and you're going to scale it. X form is like if you're doing anything that involves manipulation of your drawings. So your X form scale, and then now it brings up the scale tab, and you want to move your product. So you click on X form, the scale, move over here. If you copy it, it's just going to create a duplicated scaled version of your product. So we want to move it. We want to scale it, let's say, of a factor of 1.5, and um, and you can click OK, and that'll scale it up. Or you can do it as a percentage as well. So 1.5 is obviously 150%, and then you see it's been duplicated. So if we want to bring it back down to 100% of the first image, you just click 100, and there you go, you're back to your original drawing. You can split it by 50% or 75%, whatever have you. We're going to make it 125% of your original drawing. That makes it just big enough to start working with. So we'll go like that, click OK, or enter on your keyboard. We'll click OK, and there you go. Okay, so now it's drawn over here, and you want it inside your box. So what we're going to do is we're going to move it. But I want the teacher word up here, and I want the ed word down here. And the way you do that is you can select what you have. So let's select just the teacher first, and then you go X form drag. There you go. Okay, so now it says select the translation base point. So it's wherever you click to start your drag. So if I click here, it's going to maintain that distance from where you start your click. However, you have to remember about the copy and move icons, just like it was with scaling. So we're going to click move. And now I'm going to click my base point just underneath the center, like so. And there you go, you see it start moving. So I'm going to drag it into place. I'd like to put it right about there. So I'll do that just like that. And then it's asking you to select the translation base point again. That's if you want to move it again. So if we're done with it, we can click escape the keyboard. We have to finish the selection. So we'll go for move, drag, and we're going to move it into place, put it right there, and I'm happy with that. So I click OK. And we want to move the ed as well. So we'll select X form drag, make sure it's on move, not copy. Select, drag it into place. You're happy with that? Perfect. Okay, next we want to bring in an image, and I want to use the Red River logo for the center. So what I did is I went onto Vector Magic program and created a vectorized image of the logo. I like to use the program Vector Magic. You can also do this as an Adobe Illustrator. In Adobe Illustrator, Vector Magic works really well. So what we're going to do is we're going to go File, File Merge Pattern, and then you're going to find your image. I saved it to the desktop, so I'm just going to search through there, and then here it is, my RRC logo AI Adobe Illustrator file, which is a vectorized image. We're going to click OK, and then now it imports it like that. However, it's difficult for me to select this now because I would be selecting this your box around the outside, and that's why I like to change the color. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click undo, and then I'm going to re-import that as a different color by changing it to a white color this time, or You can use a blue, however the background's blue, so it's difficult. So I'll make it white, it's whatever you'd like. Um, and then we're going to go File, File Merge Pattern. I want the logo selected. There we go. Okay, so from here you can also scale it up right from when you import it, clicking here and then making it 2 times the size, or if you think the size is good right now. I like its size, so I'll leave it there. So we'll click I'm happy with it. There we go. Okay, so what if we want to move it now? I don't really like it in this bottom corner. However, the size is nice. Um, so you can select it like this, but again, I'm selecting the box, the green part. So what you can do is go to this all button right here, and then you can select color right here, and then you select white and only the white, and then you can hit the OK, and then you see the white will turn yellow, like so, and then you can go X form move or drag again, and you click and you start dragging it to where you'd like that. Another thing is when you're in the move icon, you can toggle between move and rotate by clicking R for rotate, and then it'll rotate your picture, and then to move back to your drag, you click T for translate, and then you can do like that. However, you have to remember to finish your click, and then you can click R and then rotate from there if you've moved it to your location you would like. So I want it to be about rotated like this, so I'm going to click, and then I want to move it to be right about here. So click again, happy with that, click OK. Okay, I'm going to create some more lettering here. I would like the year on either side. So 2012, 2013 year. So I'm just going to go create letters again. And you can also type numbers in here. So you're going to go 2012, and then we'll just type uh, 2013 on the other side. Again, selecting your font. I'd like to keep it the same font, so we'll stay it like that. And you change the height if you'd like. Again, remembering to change the colorings. Um, so right now it's going to import it as a white image. So that means that if you select white, you'll be selecting the, uh, the numberings I'm going to be importing right now and the RRC logo because they're both white. So import it like that. And there you go. You have your numbers. So I'm happy with that. Hit escape to escape the command, and I'm just going to move them into location by X form drag, click and drag. I want to put them right about here, and then I want to rotate it as well. Oops, I'd like to also rotate it, so you can go X form rotate, and then you can move, and you can type in the degrees. So let's move it about 20 degrees. You can hit OK, and then now it rotates at 20 degrees like that. And we can do the same to the other one. So let's move this one into place first. Again, we'll select it like so, X form drag, click, drag it into place like this. There we go. Looks good. We'll do the same thing to this one, but we're going to rotate it negative 20 degrees this time. So I'll hit this. We'll go negative 20, and that should give it a different angle. So there you go. It looks like that. So let's select, and then we're going to go X form drag and move that one into place. So again, you can use the X form and click on if you want to rotate or drag, or you can toggle between them using the rotate, R for rotate, and T for translate, which is your move tool. And place it right here, and then I'm going to click OK. I'm done with that. Okay, so once we've completed our drawing, and you're happy with this, and you want to cut this out, now you have to choose a machine type that you're going to be using. So you go machine type, and then we have a mill, a shopbot mill, or you can use a shopbot router. However, I prefer to use the mill post, shopbot post, because I find that that's one that works best for me. So when you set it up, because our computers have deep freeze, you're not going to get anything in here Um, this one is on my computer, and I have the ShopBot 3-axis mill set up already. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to manage list, and you're going to find the USB that you plugged in. It'll be under removable disk E or whatever it's named. And I've located my the post on my Google Drive because I didn't plug in the USB. So you're going to find the ShopBot folder that looks like this on the removable disk, your USB. You click on that, double click, or click and click OK, and then it'll show up this ShopBot 3-axis mill over here. You click that, and then you click Add, and then there you go. You have your 3-axis mill there. Click OK. Now set up choose your tool type, your machine type. Go machine type, mill, choose the one that shows up. This is the one I used from my Google Drive. Click that, and there you go. It shows up in here in the operations manual manager that you've chosen your ShopBot 3-axis mill. So from here, you want to create your toolpath, and the way we do that is by creating a contour toolpath, and that's done in toolpaths, and you click contour like so, uh, and then you're going to name it. So we're going to name this pass 1. If you want, you can name it something else. You can say teacher ed path or engraving path or whatever you have. This just, I find it keeps it really organized so that you can distinguish between which paths you want to use when you start making more complex products. So we're going to click OK. And now it's telling you select contour chain 1. I want to engrave everything around here. So the teacher ed, all of that instead of engraving something individually. So I'm going to click Polygon, and I'm going to draw a polygon around it by just clicking and then clicking again and then drawing it around it. Very similar to Solid Edge. Once you get to the end, double click, and then it will still have that all selected. It won't turn yellow until you sketch a approximate starting point. So where do you think is a good starting point? Well, your origin is right here, so I usually click what's closest to the origin. So I'm going to click right there, and there you go. All of your things inside your polygon box have been selected. So that's what your toolpath is going to create. Once you have what you want to create your toolpath around, you click OK, and then it's going to open up the toolpath contour menu. So this is where you go into choosing what type of tool, what kind of path you want to do. So if you want to do a pocket path, you could also select that. When you select your tool path, you can go toolpath pocket. But we're doing a contour path, so we're going to click that. Contour basically just follows shapes. So we're going to do contour's already been selected. So we're going to choose a tool. Right now there's no tools in your library, so we have to select a tool from the library. So select library tool, and then there's some tools in here. However, you can go filter, and then you can filter the different types of tools. So it basically has all the tools that you can think of. Majority of our tools we have are engraving tools, which would be like a V-bit. There's also countersink bits, or there's a whole bunch of ball nose bits. You can also adjust them, but that's something for a later date. So we only want to select something from the engraving bit. Okay, so you select that, then you click OK, and then it shows up all of your engraving bits here. So we want to use probably a 1/4 inch engraving bit because that's a nice fine cut. So we're going to select that one, double click, and then it'll show up here. Now if you want to edit that tool to make sure that it's the same as what we have in the shop, depending on its angle or its curve or its collet size, you can adjust that here by double clicking on the tool, and it'll bring up this menu. And right now it says that the diameter of the tool is 0.06. That's pretty standard for a 1/4 inch engraving bit. However, the tapered angle is something that sometimes changes. Some programs think that a 30-degree bit is actually a 60-degree bit. So depending on the angle. So if I was you, I would measure your bit that you have, the one that you would like to use, and you can type it in. But if you see here, I'm going to change the angle to 60 degrees, and then just watch here as I click enter, it'll change to a 60-degree. As you can see, it's pretty shallow. So we want to keep ours at probably a 30-degree. Nice, comes nice to a point. That's the one that we have at the shop. I like to call it a 60-degree because I account for the cumulative angle of both. Mastercam counts for one. Different programs for different things. So you can also adjust like the shoulder, the flute, all of these other settings here for each cutter. Just click OK, and then you can move on. Okay, the next step, basically what you have to do is just move down uh, the uh, the side menu here. So the next step would be holder. However, we have a single router that stays the same. And so after that, you move on to the cut parameters. And then here it says compensation type, and that changes whether or not the computer compensates for which side of the line, or if it's following on top of the line, where it's cutting that you selected your tool path. So if you're doing like an outside path and you don't want it to cut any smaller, you can have the compensation set to the left of your material if you're going around it. Like let's say we were going around our menu here. So if we were making my mouse the cutter, and you're coming around on this side, you put the compensation to the left so that you're not cutting any material to the inside of of your uh, of your of your sign. But if you set it to the right, the cutter would run on the inside like so, and then that would be you'd be losing a lot of material. But for an engraving path, what you do is you're going to want to shut the compensation off. So that you see here, this is the cutter. It's going to run right on top of the line, and that makes for a really nice engraving. So the direction compensation direction doesn't matter because it's running on the line. And that's basically all you need to adjust for this on this menu for a contour path. The depth cut is making multiple cuts in depth. So if you're taking off a lot of material, you're going to want to change that. However, we're doing just, again, contour path. You don't have to change anything here. This lead in, lead out, you always want to shut this off when doing this type of contour path. What it does, lead in means that when the cutter's coming down, let's say the top of this window is the top of your stock, and my mouse is your cutter. As it's coming down, let's say your starting point is here, it's gonna lead into it. So it's gonna actually come and start cutting here until it gets to your material, and then it'll be at its full depth. So you're gonna get that little line in there, and I personally don't like that, especially when you're doing something like this the sign we're doing here, where you really just want your letterings there. So again, we'll go to the breakthrough. That's done for if you're doing depth cuts, multipath, again on depth cuts, tabs, that's not important for this product. And then now here's your linking parameters. This is the parameters of your actual tool, how far it retracts. So if you follow here, how far it retracts, the feed plane, the top of the stock. Basically what we're going to set today just for this path is the depth. A really good general depth for this type of engraving is negative 0.07. So that's 0.07 of an inch. So that's not very deep, but it's deep enough to really bring out your drawing. But let's say if you were painting over top, so that you have paint on the inside of your lines, you're going to want to change that to 0.08 or 0.09. However, I want to leave mine just wood and stain it, so I'm going to keep it at 0.07. You can keep moving down. However, that's the last setting that we need to worry about for our contour path. So you can click OK. And then you can see here it'll bring up this yellow line, and that represents where your cutter is going to go. So what it's going to do first is it's going to cut around the outside, like this, and then it's going to move to the 2012, cut that out, and it's going to move to the RRC logo, cut that out, and then it's going to move, cut some of this, and it's going to keep following. As you can see, it kind of jumps around, and that's the path it's going to take. Once you've established that, you can uh, click, you can verify it. What you want to do is you want to select all your operations because you want to verify everything. Then you click this, verify selected operations. And that's going to turn your stock green as a 3D model. What you can do is if you click down on your scroll wheel, you can pan around it and see your stock. So that's what we've set up as our stock. And then here you can click the verify. You can adjust the speed and the quality of it if you want it to cut really fast or really slow. I want to cut it at an average pace, so I'm going to put it right about here. And you just hit play. And now you can watch your cutter go around and actually cut out what it's programmed to do and see it follow that path. So you see right now it's starting to do that. And it's doing it pretty slow. So I'm just going to stop this, and then I'm going to change it to go really fast, and then click play again, and there you go, it's going to start going. At this point you can really see if this is what you actually want when you're cutting. The depths, you can zoom in and check your depths, check to see if that's what you'd like or where you'd like it to end, as well as remembering where or how you're fastening it down to the table. So let's say if you're putting a screw in each corner, you have to remember that where this cutter is going. So what I like to do is I like to measure the diameter of the screw head, and then draw that circle, and then if in each corner, and if the cutter comes anywhere near that that circle, I I would extend my material or move my cut path in just to be very sure that I'm not going to hit that, because you don't want to damage the router bit. So once you have that, you can adjust it back again. You see that we are from the top view of your drawing, and the X and the Y going up and the X going this way. This is important for your CNC machine too, because if you orient your material on the CNC machine with the X-axis going this way and the Y-axis going this way, then you're going to run into some problems. You're going to start cutting this way and there's no material over there. So you have to remember your orientation is very, very important. So again, when you're verifying, sometimes you'll get a toolpath. So let's say if we want to move something, like we want to move this ed, it's not quite in the right spot. I don't really like it where it is. So let's go, let's drag it over a little bit, just a tiny bit down, put it right there. So that looks good. We'll click OK. Oh, it duplicated it. So we're going to go undo, select it again, drag it right there. So just like that. Okay, now because you've moved it, the toolpath doesn't know where to go. As you can see, the yellow line has disappeared, and it says here invalid toolpath with the X over top. And the way you fix that is you click regenerate. So anytime after you've created a toolpath and you've moved something, you have to regenerate it by clicking this button here. So we regenerate, and then it shows up again, and you can verify again. Select just to make sure that we have all the operations selected. You go verify, and I want to see it from this angle this time. Again, you can change your angles through here too, going into the view and adjusting the angles, or there's this quick selection angle. So we want to see it from the right side, or from the front side, or from the top, in which we had it before. Or if you want to see it from an isometric view like this, or you can click down on your wheel and move it again. So I want to see it from here. We'll click verify and let it go. And there you go. You can see how it's cutting out. And you can just check to see if all your lines are okay. That's where you'd like everything to be. You can move it around as well. Zoom in if you choose, like that, or zoom out, whatever you'd like. So I'm happy with that. Click OK. And then I want to bring it back to my top view. So next, once you've done all of your adjusting and you're happy with your product, you're happy with the cut, you're confident it's ready to go, you can post it. So that means you have to save it somewhere and then bring it over to the CNC machine, because that's what the CNC machine will read. And that's done with this G1 post selection operation. So that means that the the code that I've selected, like the cut path that I've done, my selections, is going to be posted. So Mastercam is going to create a code for it, which would be similar to a G code. However, Shopbot has their own series of codes. It's called a Shopbot code. So we're going to click that, and you have to make sure that this says .sbp. That means Shopbot code. Sometimes it'll say G code, and then the way you make sure that this is the right code is done through your selected posts. So um, here it's giving me a warning that it might not match my machine. So you click OK, and then now you can find your posts, and that again would be in the Shopbot folder on which we originated with. That's on my Google Drive. However, it would be on your guys's removable disk. So right here is that 3-axis mill post. So we're going to select that one, and that's the one we'd like to use, Shopbot 3-axis mill post, just like that. Make sure it says Shopbot. So I click OK, and now it's telling me what file name. So I've made pass 1. That's the what I named it originally. So, but I want to name it something else. I'm going to say um, teacher ed Shopbot post file right there. So you can see it says Shopbot file. I'm going to name it teacher ed. I'm going to save that to my desktop so it's easy for me to find. Once you've done that, but let's go shop teacher ed 1, and that's the file. So we're going to save that, and you see it's saving. This error sometimes occurs. Don't worry too much about it. It just means that errors were detected during posting, so that sometimes it's posting hidden characters that can crash the machine. However, because we're going from Mastercam and saving it to our desktop, sometimes there's errors during the posting. However, they don't affect the machine when it's cutting. So you can click OK if you'd like to view it. However, it's going to bring up the Shopbot codes, which might be confusing to some of you guys. These are just the commands that were found. So they're not all that important right now. They seem to be in order. So once we've done that, we have created this. We can save it again by clicking Control S and saving it back to the way we saved it again. But that rerouted it over top of my first one. But I'm happy with this, and this is what I want. So we can minimize it, and then again, here is my Teacher Ed 1 toolpath. As you can see, it's a note file. And the reason why they use note is because it doesn't put in hidden characters that will mix up your machine. So you can open it to verify its program, and then this is the Shopbot codes, similar to a G code. However, it's specific to Shopbot. So you can see here that it's going to, at first, when you zero it, it's going to jog home, and that's your origin. So it's going to start at the origin, then it's going to say please, it's going to stop, and it's going to say insert the 1/4 inch 60-degree engraving bit. That'll be your bit you'd like, and then it'll pause. It'll ask you to start up again, and these are the move speeds that it has set, which are 14 and 14. However, I like to use a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch. That's inches per second that it's working on. So I'm going to change them. You can change them as well. I like to work at 25 by 25, so a 1/4 inch by a 1/4 inch per second as it's working. When it's moving, it's a pretty good rate for working with. And then here, these are just the commands. So it's saying jog in 3 axes from 0 to 1 at uh, at 25.25 inches of height. So that's your X, Y, and Z. And then you can see it jogging 3 at 0, 1, so it's going to stay at that 1-inch position, drop down, it's going to move down 5 thousandths of an inch, and then it's going to move 3 axes to negative 0.07, and that's your depth that we set originally for your tool, and then it's going to say moving again to 2 inches following your contour path. That's what the C is there for. And then it's saying remain at that depth. And it's just going to go through all of those lines, and that's what's going to cut out your machine. So now that we've done some changes, we changed the move speeds. You could also throw in a pause if you'd like right here, so you can click enter and type in pause. However, don't change too much in here, because if you do, this is what the shopbot reads. So if you go and delete a line, it's just going to jump to the next line, and then it'll forget to use that line. So it won't have it to read it. So it could potentially crash your machine. So we made some changes though. So we're just going to save it again just to make sure that we have the right one. So once you have that, take your teacherette file, the one that you've created, whichever you'd like, and then save that to your USB. So either dragging it over, so I'm going to drag it over to my Google Drive because that's what I'm going to run off of. You can copy it and then paste it into your folder just like this, and then it'll show up there, and then bring that over to the CNC machine. Watch the video on ShopBot, how to set up the ShopBot. It'll be on your removable disk E, the one that you were given for this tutorial. Bring that whole thing over to the ShopBot computer, and then you can run your file and set it up from there. I hope this was helpful. Have a great day.